This is Slam Hockey with your hosts, Peter Wojcicki and Paul Swinbeck. Welcome to Jablam Hockey, folks. I'm your host, Peter Wojcicki. You can find me on Twitter at Russian98, and I'm with
Paul Zwambag. You can find me at Zwambag, Z-W-A-M-B-A-G. Hey everybody, how's it going? Peter, what's up?
Oh, you know, my favorite time of the year for tennis. The Australian Open. I love it. I love it. It's the best. It's fun. No, it's the worst.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Lost.
Djokovic lost. He's going to retire.
No, he's not going to retire.
Oh.
But, man, that was rough. That's like the worst loss of his career. Second round in his most favorable tournament, the Australian Open, which he's won, I think, like 6 of them already. Oh, my goodness. But you know what? Congrats for Dennis Istomin. He played amazing. He even said after the match, he's like, I played amazing. Like, usually tennis players are so, like, down to earth and more reserved, and they always say good things about the other player. No, he just said straight up, I played amazing. And he basically said, like, that was his best match of his life. Oh, and now they're bad news. Right now, as we're recording this, obviously on Thursday night, show's coming out on Friday, Coco Vanderway just beat our Canadian Jeannie Bouchard.
No, not Jeannie.
Yeah, well, it's all falling apart. All I have left now is Milos. Come on, Milos.
Milos!
Yeah, and Milos, you got a chance a little bit more now that Djokovic is out. Come on, Milos, you can do it. Jeannie's looking cute in what she's wearing, and she even had to tweet about it too. Yes, her last match. But
well, maybe she should be paying more attention to her tennis.
Yeah, well, again,
outfits.
She came out and said before the tournament, she's like, I don't care what anyone thinks. She's going to focus like on herself. She says that almost every year. She's got a bit of a chip on her shoulder, and that's why I'm not a big fan of Jeannie. And I'm a huge fan of Milos because he's such a great kid, and he works his butt off. And he's so focused and smart, too. So I hope he can finally win a Grand Slam this year, and maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the tournament. Hopefully.
Jim Parsons is coming for you.
Oh, yeah. Is he? He loves Jeannie.
Yeah.
And she doesn't love him back, though, so I don't know. No. All right. Paul, how did we do last week on our Tatter's picks?
Hey, we're talking about hockey again. I did really well, Peter. 9-3.
And you're not letting me get that game that I even emailed you and said, I'm picking Philly because I thought Rask wasn't going to play. So I even said that. If Rask doesn't play, I'm picking Philly. But you still won't let me switch because that's what I was saying. If Rask plays, I'm going with the Bruins.
Nope, it's too bad. Do your research. Check your starting goalie
I knew it.
posts.
You're punishing me because you take 3-4 hours to make your picks.
Yeah.
And I do them in like 2 minutes, and that's why you're punishing me.
That's correct.
The only reason why.
Lesson learned, Peter. Research.
No. I forgot to do them again, and you messaged me and you said I needed to get them done ASAP, and I did. But again, I put that in there. But you're not giving it. I don't know.
The reason why, how many picks do you make with a coin?
I make like, I don't know, not many, like
one or two a Saturday?
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm only one game better than you, that disappoints me. I put all this research in, and you're winning, almost winning with a coin flip.
That's like not even a quarter of the matches though. So I don't know. It's again, if I'm teetering and I thought Rask wasn't playing because the puck hit him like right in the throat that game, and he didn't play the rest of the game, the previous game. So I thought, he might be not playing, and they didn't even say which goal he was playing. I even checked it like that night, and they weren't sure, and he played. But
well, once it's up on the site, it's up on the site. Too bad.
No, Paul, you're such a mean guy.
So overall, we are 78-54 and 77-55. So doing pretty good. Yeah.
All right. Well, what we have this episode is we're doing a Team ISO in this episode with the Red Wings, and we have special guest Clark Rasmussen of DetroitHockey.net. We're also going to do our half-season report cards for our Penguins and Maple Leafs. Friendly bet. We're putting it in. And then we got some trivia. I'm going to ask Paul some Penguins trivia.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yes. But first, trending now. They fired him. Cappuccino is finally fired from the Islanders. Why did it take him this long, though?
I have no idea. They had to get to the basement before they could move him. Like, that seems silly. I hope Doug Weight can turn around being the interim head coach.
Yeah.
But I think it's too late this season.
Like I said, I think it's maybe even more the GM's fault, too, because bad off-season moves, not bringing in their best players, bringing in Andrew Ladd, a lot of question marks in some of the positions, goaltending as well. I don't know. I just don't think as well for the GM. He hasn't done a great job either. But yes, it was a bit of a long time coming, I think, with Capuano. And we'll see what Doug Weight does. I don't know. It's too little too late, and I don't see them surging. But, we'll see what happens.
Is Garth Snow out at the end of the year?
I think he should be. I think he should have been out before already by now. But
how many times do GMs get fired mid-season?
Very rare.
Yeah.
Very. So, yeah, they're probably not going to do anything until
like 3 weeks before the draft or a month before the draft.
Oh, it's the Islanders. They're going to do something totally random and weird at the most obscure time.
Oh, it's maybe they're going to go up and Garrett Bettman's going to be like, Islanders are on the clock with the first overall pick, and they're like, we have an announcement to make. Garth Snow has been fired, and who knows who's going to be the GM.
Kyle Dubas is now the GM of the Islanders.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
And Kyle Dubas would go up and pick like some guy that nobody knows, and he's like, "Oh, he's good. He's good in the stats." So we're not going to take Nolan Patrick. We're not going to take Nolan Patrick first overall. We're going to go with a London Knight.
Yeah, we're going to go off the board here and pick a kid that has great possession numbers.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. And then the Leafs' recent game against the Sabres, something quite awkward happened. What happened, Paul?
Robin Lehner, I guess, waved to a fan, and he got told by media that it was a bad move, and then he got pulled right after that, and then he stared down Bilesma, and Robin Lehner's stare is terrifying.
Ooh, we've already talked about that last year, right? His stares?
Yeah, he's got staring eyes that are creepy.
Yeah, he's a hothead sometimes too, and I think he even threw his glove and everything. He was pretty pissed. He wanted to stay in there too, but
it was because it was two girls. Well, it looked like it was two girls that he's waving to, and they were decent looking girls. So everybody got up on his grill saying that he's got to be more into the game. But what really happened, Peter, was he went to go get a drink, and his mom was holding up a cell phone with her kid waving in his pajamas on FaceTime. So he decided to wave back. And if you look at it again, that's exactly what's happening. The girl has the phone up in the air. It looks like she's doing selfies, and he ends up waving in the background or trying to photobomb. But no, he's waving to a little boy who's at home sick. And
that's cute.
The girl even tweeted out saying that she caused a lot of commotion because Robin Lehner was doing a nice thing, waving to her hockey player's son who's homesick on FaceTime, and tweeted Robin Lehner and the Maple Leafs about it because she felt bad for Robin Lehner. So it's kind of cool, but he should still be stuck in the game. You do that in like warm-ups and after the game.
Yeah. You got to be a little more focused during the game there. It's kind of weird. I didn't like here living in Toronto with having Vince Carter on the Raptors, and the Raptors would be getting blown out sometimes. And Vince is out there still smiling and doing weird things with the crowd. I'm like, this guy, does he even care what's going on in the game right now?
Yeah. Do you think the reason why he got pulled, Bilesma saw that and was like, he's not in the game. His head's not in the game. You think
it's a little bit of both too, because he let in 3 goals in like 10 minutes, and that's what they said. So it's a little bit of both, but I think more about, if he was playing well in the game and he wasn't allowing, and he only allowed 1 goal, obviously he probably wouldn't have been pulled. So it's still what he does on the ice, in between the pipes is more obviously why he would take him out. So
we're going to put the video up on our game notes, so you can go
Yeah.
look at that.
we are also going to be putting out the video of the new promo. Joe Thornton,
Oh boy.
Brent Burns, the new San Jose Sharks promo. I love these guys. They come out with great commercials and promos every year. They're giving away a chia beard. So the promo is hilarious. Did you see it, Mark?
I did not see it.
So basically there's a guy getting his beard trimmed, and then there's Burnsy and Thornton chirping him and telling the guy how to shave the guy's beard and making beard comments. And there's even one on the internet. We should find and put this also on game notes. It's the behind the scenes, and Burnsy is actually doing like Chewbacca noises.
Oh jeez.
Oh, it's hilarious.
That's good.
It's so funny. It is so funny. They're waving the white towels and stuff. They're like fully in their hockey gear. It is hilarious. I love them. They're beauties. Oh man, it's so good.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, check those out, and they're going to be on JablamHockey.com. All right, and time for this week's segment of Team ISO. Again, last year you got our opinions, Paul and mine, and this year we're going out into the public and everybody that follows the team more often. This week's guest is Clark Rasmussen, and you can follow him on Twitter at DetroitHockey96. He's currently a publisher and editor at DetroitHockey.net. And of course, we're going to tweet that out for you at Jablam Hockey, all his information. Welcome to the show, Clark.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Perfect. So, how long have you had this website for? Were you the one that started originally?
Yeah, I started it originally, and it started way back in 1996 as Iserfan 19's Detroit Red Wings page.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that was ages ago. It started back in the AOL days, made it to GeoCities, hit all of the old 90s.
Wow, GeoCities.
Yep.
I used to go on those chat sites. Wow, that was a long time.
Yeah, so we've been around for a while. Yeah.
Nice. Keep it going. Good work out there. So let's get into a little bit of like yourself. So you're from Detroit? East Lansing?
I'm from the Detroit area now. But I've been around mid-Michigan. I'm originally from Jackson, which is just south of the state capital of Lansing, and been around here a little bit. Never actually in Detroit, though.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I guess you've been following the Red Wings since you were born almost then.
Yeah. Hockey's big in my family. My cousins all played. I never actually did. But my cousins all played, and so I grew up around it, and have always been a big Wings fan. And that really kind of increased with the website and everything. I started paying attention more, and it just kind of picked up from there.
Beautiful. I was also a fair bit of a Red Wings fan back in the day, especially with the Leafs weren't even that good even when I was a little kid too. And then of course, being Russian, I used to like pass it over to Fedorov, to Larionov, Konstantinov, to Fedosov, and to Boyarinov. He shoots, he scores. So I would always do that when I was playing street hockey and having fun.
A lot of good guys to have as heroes.
Yes, they were. And it was great watching I think we had the Winter Classic, and that was great. The Leafs keep on winning. Woohoo! But, of course, the veterans of the Red Wings pretty much keep on winning. And I think it was it the Colorado one where they had all the Russian guys come in and do their
that was they did. I don't think Fetisov was at the Colorado one, but they were all, including Konstantinov, at the Comerica Park game back in 2013.
Yes.
And they did the opening face-off there, and they even had honorary Russian Doug Brown out there at the same time too.
Yeah, I had pictures of that. That was classic. I liked it. All right, so let's get into the team now. Not looking so great, but at least you got 3 wins lately, especially against those Penguins. Right, Paul? Did you like that game on Saturday?
No, let's not talk about it. Let's skip over that game.
All right. First, let's get into the guys that are playing fairly well. How do you like so far Mantha and Athanasiou playing this year?
I think they're a big part of where the Wings are right now, or where they're going to be, I should say. They're Mantha's sitting sixth in points on the team right now, but he's played 15 fewer games.
Wow.
So that's pretty impressive for a guy that Ken Holland declared over the summer wasn't the answer. He's third in goals on the team, which I think is a little bit more impressive. That he's putting the puck in the net, and that's something that the Wings need with Dylan Larkin having had a little bit of a sophomore slump.
Yeah.
He's really stepped up and really helped the team. And Athanasiou, he's right behind Mantha. He's fourth in goals, also in 30 games played, and he's only playing 12 minutes a night.
Yeah.
So his points per minute are kind of insane. And his speed is a real difference maker. You saw in the Pittsburgh game that fantastic coast to coast goal.
Yeah.
And he had a couple of real nice chances in the next couple of games too. And he did get one last night. So he's been doing pretty great, and it was good to see the Wings give him the chance at the start of the season, because they haven't exactly had the best history giving their kids the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, some of them aren't playing so well, so you got the veterans playing a little bit better. Why are I don't know, it just seems peculiar that Zetterberg and Vanek are still kind of leading the team. I'm guessing it's more of a bad thing that the other younger talent hasn't led the team, that they were more expecting them to.
They were definitely expecting Larkin to step up more, and the problem with Larkin really was that he hasn't adjusted to playing center at the NHL level. So they were trying to play him at center. They had him up and down, trying to find line mates for him, and it wasn't clicking for a lot of the season. Of late, they've finally said, all right, shift him back to wing, shifted him to third line wing at that, and he started to turn it around. And we talk about the slump. I mean, I said slump right off the bat. He's still tied for first on the team in goals.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's been completely worthless or anything like that. It's just really the hype he had last year coming in and being a teenager making the Red Wings. That hasn't happened in ages. And did
he make the All-Star game too?
Yeah, he was the All-Star for the Wings last year, and broke the speed skating record. Mm-hmm. He had sky high expectations coming into the season, and I guess it's probably not really a surprise that he hasn't lived up to them. But it's not like he's been horrible either. So there's still a lot of season. He's still got a lot of time to figure things out. But obviously him not playing to the level that they hoped for made them have to shuffle. It means that Zetterberg's playing center sometimes when they didn't want him to. And that leads to them, relying on Zetterberg more and him being a team leader in points again.
Mm-hmm. So we did have the old big three with Zetterberg, Datz, and Helm, right? Then it was supposed to be the next big three. Who are they again? Nyquist, Tatar, and was it Ferk, or who else? Who's the third?
Well, Pulkkinen, who is in Iowa of the AHL now.
How did he drop off so fast? It was crazy.
that one really surprises me.
Yeah.
He was putting up a point every 3 games last year, but he was hurt for most of the season. So he had 11 goals and 11 assists or something like that in 36 games. Yeah, maybe it was a goal every 3 games. I can't remember. I had the stat in my head a while ago and I've lost it. He had some numbers that for a kid for $800,000 a year were pretty respectable. Yeah. But there was something that the Wings just didn't like, and apparently the rest of the league doesn't like either, because he got waived to start the season, and went to Minnesota, and then Minnesota waived him, and nobody claimed him, and he's been in Iowa. Uh, and and this is a guy that 2 seasons ago absolutely lit up the AHL and has never really gotten an NHL shot. So it's really kind of surprising.
Yeah, like I remember Toronto, everybody was thinking, oh, we're going to trade Franzen and a prospect or Reimer or something for him. Like it was there was a lot of rumors with a lot of big pieces being moved for him. So because you guys weren't sure about putting him in the lineup or not. But what about the other guys like Nyquist and Tatar? They never took it there. They haven't taken it to the next level, and they've been waiting for it, right?
I actually question I question that a little bit. What the definition of next level is on that? They've gotten some seriously bad press. The Wings media does not like them. But I mean, Tatar is still at. I mean, he's still at 10 goals. He's at 22 points. It's not great, but it's pretty good. Nyquist, he's only got 7 goals, but he's got 17 assists, so 24 points. He's been moving the puck a lot better. He's still, they're still putting up some points. They're at half a point a game or so, and I mean it's not great by any means. It's not. I mean, Vanek's nearly at a point a game, so I mean, I mean. You say Zetterberg is something like 0.66 or something like that. He's moving along pretty great, but a point every other game is not horrible for them. It's just that they've always they always have these hopes for a lot of players. This is the same thing for Danny DeKeyser on defense, that like, okay, they're going to take the next step, and they give them the contract for them to take the next step. And then if they don't quite take that full next step, it looks awful.
Yeah. Well, when you put the label on them as like the next big three.
Yeah.
And even, again, when you have a really solid season that Nyquist had 2 years ago.
Oh yeah,
you expect a lot more of them, and when they're young too, you expect even more out of them. So it is tough when you do that.
And they have had especially Nyquist has had a harder time adjusting to the coverage that teams know to put on him now. Tatar, I think he's been more consistent overall. And he had a pretty great game last night. But it's not the output that they hoped for them. But I mean, it's not like they've been horrible. It's just, and that can be said for a lot for the Wings team as a whole. They're not horrible. They're just not the best. So they're middling is a great way of putting it. Yeah.
And then, so you don't want to label them, but could they be the next big three with Larkin, Mantha, and then that's you?
I mean, I'd certainly hope so. That's who the Wings are looking for. I think I probably am a little bit more confident in Mantha right now than Larkin. Athanasiou, I think he's a real question mark. Is he the next Darren Helm, or is he something better than that? Yeah. And even then, Darren Helm, he was a serviceable second line winger for a little bit a few years ago, but he was kind of above his weight class when he was doing that. That was almost more about his line mates. So maybe you put Athanasiou with the right line, he can get up there. But I see him a lot more as a third liner, as an energy guy. I mean, you see what he's doing. You see what he's doing with 12 minutes, and maybe with 16 minutes, he would do more, or maybe he wouldn't. I want to see him get the opportunity. That's for sure.
Perfect. So let's move on to the back end. What defensemen may be coming up that are you excited about?
The defense is
there's a lot of holes in the defense,
on this team.
Right?
Yes, I've said for years that the Red Wings defense is held together by duct tape. I can't this is the first year in probably 3 that they're actually performing at the level that I expected. You just had things like for a couple of years, Kyle Quincy was way better than I expected him to be, or the names that were out there shouldn't have been able to put together the effort that they did. And so now they're taking a hit. They don't have a true number one. Even when Nicholas Cronwall is healthy, he's really been a number 2 his whole career. He's getting older, and his knees are shot. He's going to have issues for the rest of his career. Mike Green is not a number 1. Danny DeKaiser hasn't taken that step to be a true number 1. So they're having a real hard time figuring out who plays where and what everybody's role is. This season, they've gotten a lot of minutes out of Alexei Marchenko, who really broke through last year. And he hasn't looked great, but he's looked good. I think they're more excited about Xavier Ouellet, who made the lineup out of camp this year. He would have had to be waived to be sent down, so it was his last chance, really. And he's really done a great job with it. Ryan Sproul.
Are they playing him mostly third line pairing, or?
It's really dependent on the game. But yeah, mostly third line. They've had, with injuries to Cronwall and to Brendan Smith and to Mike Green, there's been a lot of shuffling of the pairings. That's mostly been third pairing, but he's gotten power play time. He's gotten looks in a few different ways. And he's been solid. He's been in the lineup more than he's been out of it, which is more than you can say for Ryan Sproul, who looked really good once he got into the lineup near the start of the season. But he's made some rookie mistakes that have cost him his spot. And to a certain extent, that's really. I'm going to use the word unfair. Life's not fair. All that. It's like it's unfair to him because he's a rookie. He should be allowed to make rookie mistakes on this team. I don't think this team is going to make the playoffs. So to give him the room to learn from those mistakes would be a really good thing. But he has made a couple of high-profile mistakes, and he's gotten benched for it. That's why he's on the bench right now. He got benched, and Nick Jensen stepped in, who was another guy. He got waived to start the season, made it down to Grand Rapids, got called up when injuries happened, and he has looked really good in his call-up. I noticed him last night, especially in the 3-on-3 overtime with Boston. That he was just moving the puck well, skating well. He looked really good in the 3-on-3, and it kind of surprised me. But he's a guy that has been waiting for his chance, and he's grabbed it now. Beyond that, those 3 guys are the young, 4 guys because I said Marchenko too. They're already on the team. Beyond that, looking at the future, you've got Robbie Russo down in Grand Rapids. He's their leading scorer among defensemen. He was on the AHL All-Star team as a rookie last year, and he's pretty much regarded as next in line. He kind of got cut off a little bit when Brian Lashoff, former then current, but former Wings prospect, he got a call up instead of Russo earlier this year. So he hasn't gotten a look at the NHL level yet, but he's pretty much the next in line. Joe Hicketts, this is his first pro season. He was signed as an undrafted free agent in 2014. Played for the Canadian World Junior team for 2 years.
He looked pretty good there.
Yeah, and he's second in scoring on the Griffins right now. So those are probably your names coming up. And then Vili Saariarvi playing for OHL Mississauga right now. He was expected to make his pro debut this season, and didn't. There's a log jam in the Wings in the Wings system, so that's not really a surprise. Plus, he had to live through the nonsense with the Flint Firebirds last year, so that probably it hurt his chances a little bit too. But he started the season injured, and now he's in Mississauga and doing relatively well there. So those are probably the names that you're looking at in coming seasons for the Wings. But they've got a log jam, so we'll see what it takes for people to actually make it onto the roster.
What did you think of Philip Hronik's World Juniors this year?
I don't know how to get a read on him, and I don't know why. And it's maybe it's just because I didn't see enough of him or anything, and I haven't seen him in Saginaw, so I don't know. I don't know, but I watched him and I can't tell where he fits in the Wings system, I guess, and part of that's because of the log jam.
Yeah.
That's nothing against him. It's just they've got no room for him. So
they got a lot of mid-tier defensemen coming up.
Is he gonna? I mean, where is he gonna slot in, and when is he gonna slot in? Like I said about Sarajärvi, playing an extra year in the OHL. How long? I don't know.
I do like that he captained the team. That shows a lot of leadership. So that'll help.
All right, let's move on to what I like to call is who's really the number one goaltender between the pipes. But first off, who is Jared Coreau? I know he's doing pretty good. I added him to my fantasy team because I needed an extra goalie, and I thought he was playing pretty well. So who is he really?
So Coreau's interesting. The Wings signed him out of Northern Michigan a few years ago. So kind of a hometown guy. But he started his pro career going a full year between wins.
Wow.
And so that's impressive in a horrible way. They've liked him from the start. Even when he was stuck playing in the ECHL, they liked him. When the Wings have had goalie injuries over the last couple of seasons, he got the chance to go up to Grand Rapids, and he played well there. And they expected him to be Peter Mrazek's backup next year. And then the injury to Jimmy Howard changes everything up. Mrazek's inconsistent play gets Coreau a bunch of starts, including that Centennial Classic, and he's looked good. He's looked good, and the team has played well in front of him. In general, they haven't been, the Wings haven't been putting 6 goals on anybody in front of Peter Mrazek, but they light up the Penguins in front of Coreau. That's the typical play better in front of the backup goalie thing, or something else. But he's definitely he's another guy that's stepped in and taken advantage of the opportunity. He got lit up last night. 3 goals on 8 shots. The Wings were absolutely horrible in the first period, so that's not all on him. But Mrazek played well to ride it out, so he gets the next start, and we'll see how things go. There's something about him. The Fox Sports Detroit broadcast during the Montreal game on Monday was comparing him to Chris Osgood. And I don't see that comparison a whole lot. What worries me is that there are times that I see him and I think Kevin Hodgson.
Wow.
So,
all right.
Is it just because the reason I think that is Kevin Hodgson started his career with the Red Wings, stepping in and playing spectacularly in a small number of games, and it made him look great. So, small sample size. We haven't seen maybe the real Jared Coreau, or maybe we have, and he just is good.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
But so who would you name as at least this year's number one, maybe? And then who would be maybe next year's? Because you still have Howard on cap for 2 more years and Mrazek for next year. And so who would you name number one right now if you could, if they were all healthy at least?
If they were all healthy, Howard has probably played the best of all of them.
Okay.
In an ideal world, Howard has gone to someone else because they don't want to carry the cap hit, and then it's probably Mrazek on a very short leash.
So you keep your fingers crossed, and you would hope that Howard goes to Las Vegas.
I don't expect him to. It's my hope, but I think the Wings are going to have to hope that like Calgary gives up on Brian Elliott and can't get Ben Bishop or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, there's just too many goalies available. Chicago's not going to want to lose Scott Darling for nothing. Somebody's gonna take him. And nobody's going to want, just like the Red Wings don't want, a $5 million backup. So it's got to be a team that needs a starter, has the cap space, and not a lot of matches there.
We'll see what happens with that. And last but not least, before we get into the projections of the Red Wings, what's going to happen with log jams? A lot of guys are coming back, right? And maybe have to go on waivers.
They're dodging the waiver bullet for at least a game. It looks like Darren Helm's coming back tomorrow, and they're going to get around that one by putting Steve Ott on IR. I fully expected to see Tomas Jurko on waivers today until they announced the Ott injury. I think Jurko is probably on his way out, and that could be a really smart waiver pickup for somebody. But I thought that about Pulkkinen, and he's back in the AHL right now, so he may slide through and end up in GR again.
Yeah. Well, I thought Jurko might have been one of the big three actually before.
He has never really expectations. He scored highlight reel goals in junior, and once he got to the AHL, it never really translated from there. He's looked good at times, but not great. Typically, when he came to the AHL, he looked lost for a while. His rookie season was transformative. At the end of that season with Grand Rapids, it was amazing to see how much he had learned. But he's never then taken that step in the NHL where he learned and just looked like better from getting playing time and everything.
Yeah.
So he's probably the casualty up front, and that's necessary to keep Mantha up there. You're not going to send him down, even though you can. On defense, I have no idea what they're going to do because they're on a good day carrying 9 defensemen.
Wow.
So I'd imagine Sproul is the odd man out right now since he's not playing. But I don't know for certain.
All right. Well, could this be the year the Red Wings don't make the playoffs?
I fully expect that. But that said, I expected it last season too, and they found a way to back in. But there's, especially with the 3-game win streak that they're on right now, there's a lot of positive talk out of the team, out of the media that covers the team. There a lot of talk about how like they're only 4 points back of Toronto and Ottawa. But the thing that keeps getting missed there is that Toronto and Ottawa have 3 games in hand. Nobody talks about the fact that they'd have to pass Tampa and Florida. So yeah, it looks good, but it would require a lot of teams to start playing pretty poorly. They are only 6 points back. Like if you wanted to go back to the positive thing again, there are only 6 points back of Boston with 3 games in hand on them. But again, you're talking about, okay, you can catch Boston, but so can all those other teams.
Yeah. We've all got games ahead of Boston. When is their bye week? And are they going to be out for 3 weeks? It seems like. So, but yeah, it's a big logjam there, especially in this division. So we'll see what happens. You know what, Clark? Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We're gonna post your Twitter account at Detroit Hockey 96 on our Twitter accounts, and hopefully we'll have you on the show again sometime.
Sounds great. I'd love to.
Okay, thanks for coming on the show, Clark.
All right, thank you.
Now for this month's friendly bet. Paul, how are we doing so far this year with our friendly bets?
Well, we still have 2 on the go, so we can't really say who's winning or losing. But the 2 that are on the go are Kadri, 26 goals. You're taking the over. I'm taking the under. He's at 18, on pace for 34. So he's likely going to get there. The second one is amount of Penguins players in top 15 scoring. I have 3+, which is likely just Crosby, Malkin, and Kessel. And you have less than 3, so you're hoping Kessel falls out or Malkin or Crosby get hurt and fall out. So those 2 are still up in the air. They'll be decided at the end of the year, or if Kadri gets 26 in the next 3 weeks. That would suck.
So we were thinking about what to do this week, and Paul and I were thinking about maybe Columbus versus Minnesota. But we're both thinking that Minnesota is going to be better than Columbus this year. So we're not doing that. But look out, Columbus fans. We're hating on you.
Definitely.
Yes. Well, you know what, though? I said at the beginning of the year, we both projected Minnesota to be really bad. Well, both of them. But I said Eric Stahl was going to be a big piece of the puzzle for them. And right now, he is. So look out. Minnesota's doing well.
And Columbus, we had that big long streak, and we're like, they're going to hit a wall, and they've hit that wall, and I don't know how many games they've won, like maybe 2 since then, so they've hit that wall that we spoke about a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, so it looks like they're going to be slowing down at least more than Minnesota. So the other idea we had was, and I wanted to go a little more Canadian, we were thinking, well, will Calgary make the playoffs and or not? We're not sure. We were both thinking maybe Calgary will. So then I said, why not? We do. How many Canadian teams will make the playoffs? I'm going for Canada. I'm saying 4 or more. And Paul?
3 or less.
You just don't love Canada. Why
oh, come on. You can't play that on me. That's
You're a fan of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Move.
You live in Canada, and you're a fan of... Not only are you not a fan of the Leafs, you're not a fan of any of the 7 teams we currently have. You went with an American team. That's your favorite team. Okay, but now you're not even picking more Canadian teams to make the playoffs.
No.
Hey,
so I'm putting it out there. Get better, Canada. Get your teams better.
They're going to be better. They're going up. How many teams did we have in the playoffs last year, Paul?
2? 1?
0.
See? It's on my side. Who do you think? Your 4 teams. What 4 teams do you think are going to make the playoffs?
I think Montreal for sure. Edmonton for sure. And then we've got 3 teams. You could say 5 teams on the fence. I don't think Vancouver's going to make it for sure. And they've been teetering on that fence. And then we got 2 teams that are in there, or at least the Leafs are way up there right now. But you never know with such a young team. So I still think they could go out, but I still think they might still make the playoffs and get a wild card spot. And then that leaves me Ottawa and Calgary. And I think Ottawa might make the playoffs, might not. But Calgary I still think will. There's just so many question marks with those other teams underneath them. Nashville, can they clean up, all their errors and things that are going on with the team? They're not playing that well lately. Same thing with Dallas. A lot of question marks around this team. And then there's Winnipeg, who we projected to make the playoffs, and they're still not playing well. So I don't expect them to recover.
Hey, they just called up Pavlik, so who knows?
Yeah,
maybe
and they won that game, but it was 6-3. So Pavlik still looked pretty good for the Jets, but still, it's a lot of goals to allow. You can't win many nights if you're allowing 3.
Yeah, you got to remember, Philadelphia pours it on at the end. Tampa Bay's going to turn their game on. Florida, they just announced that Huberdeau and Barkov might not make the rest of the year. So
still a lot of question marks with these other teams too. But then again, there's still Ottawa and the Rangers in that area. So, and Boston's still not playing that well, and the Leafs could still make Boston too.
This is true. I'm
Yeah.
saying 3. The Leafs are
You're
allowed to
going
make it.
with-
Montreal's going to make it. Edmonton's going to make it, and then the Leafs. Boom, done. I win.
And then Calgary, you think is out.
Yeah, Nashville, Dallas are gonna catch up.
Yeah, that was maybe our other question mark, but you weren't sure about that one too. Maybe Nashville or Dallas or both of them still sneaking into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we'll see, and we're gonna post and all our friendly bets. They're all on NHL.com. All right, Paul. Let's do some team report cards. So we've already made our report cards. They're all on NHL.com on our blogs. Go there, check out. We have the full team. Paul and I did pretty much every single player on the roster for our teams. But right now we're going to give you a little bit of each. Paul, what's a forward that you'd like to talk about on the Pens?
I'm going to start with Phil Kessel.
Okay.
You may think he's having a great year. I'm saying he's having a good year. I'm giving him a B+. He's in the top 15 in scoring, which is helping my Jablam friendly bet.
Yeah.
With 42 points, but he needs to shoot more. He needs to force the shot way more. He's playing with Malkin, so most nights he's definitely looking past for Malkin.
Mm-hmm.
He does have more power play points already this year than his total from last year, 18 power play points. So that's definitely good. I think that is going to fall off a bit. And his shot total is the lowest since 2012-13. So if he gets back up to shooting, he could raise his grade up to an A or an A-.
Mm-hmm.
I think he just needs to shoot. He's looking past way too often for being Phil Kessel, who has that wicked shot off the rush. It's just not there right now.
Yeah. All right, and another forward maybe?
Obviously we got to do Crosby. A+, on pace for 100 points.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy, he's got the Art Ross, I think. I think he's going to surpass McDavid probably within 15-20 games. Currently at 1.32 points per game, right on the exact same as his career points per game. So we're seeing Crosby at his peak right now.
Wow. Yeah, he is amazing. So,
then,
we'll see what happens.
And then my third guy,
okay,
good old Matt Cullen. Another good season for this 40-year-old vet.
Yeah.
Cullen fills in wherever the Penguins need him to fill in. If Crosby goes down, when he went down, Cullen stepped up and played that power play role during those games. He brings leadership. They call him the dad of the team. The only thing that sucks, I wrote this today, they came out and said he's got a foot injury. He's out.
Yep.
So who knows how long. That really sucks. I gave him a grade A because he's playing so well. You don't expect a 40-year-old to put up the points he's putting up. So Cullen gets an A for me.
An A. All right. Well, I'm pretty much going to summarize it with one line. I'm going to talk about is the JVR, Bozak, and Marner line. And pretty much Bozak and JVR are on pace for their best seasons, best pro seasons in their careers. And it's, in my mind, because of Marner. They're playing with a very creative player who has tremendous vision and skill in Mitzi, and he's bringing up his veteran line mates with his amazing play. Bozak, obviously the more defensive-minded player, and he's doing well back there. And JVR is such a hot and cold player, but when you're playing with Mitzi, who's bringing up his game, he's putting up a lot of goals, and he could even get his 30-goal mark or maybe higher and maybe have his best offensive season in his career. But I still think he's very hot and cold sometimes, but it's working well for all of them. So I gave Bozak a B and JVR a B, but Mitz Marner an A.
Nice.
All right. And Paul, who do you have for defense?
On the back end, I'm going with a pair that is just playing outstanding November, December, unbelievable hockey. Justin Schultz and Ian Cole. Schultz, I've given a B+. 20 points in 18 games, currently at a 56-point pace. Having Ian Cole as his defensive partner has definitely helped him play the offensive side of the game because Ian Cole is doing everything right defensively, and he's still chipping in points, and I think it has a lot to do with Justin Schultz being the offensive-minded guy, that Ian Cole's getting the secondary assist, not the primary assist every night, and Cole's learned to play how Crosby wants him to play, shooting wide of the net and having that Crosby deflection. Crosby doesn't score very many goals shooting the puck. A lot of it comes with guys putting the puck off the net, and he finds a way to get the puck to the net. One guy that I'm very disappointed in is Olli Mantha. He's a D grade. I'm just not impressed with him. He's supposed to be our power play 2 quarterback, or was supposed to be, and that's just not happening. Yeah. He looks slow out in his own zone. He just doesn't look like he's got speed. I don't know if that has to do with his injuries from last year. He went through a pretty injury-riddled beginning of the season last year, and I don't know if it's hindered his progress.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just not happy with how Mantha's playing right now.
All right. For me, a lot of guys haven't really talked about him too much, but Connor Carrick, in my opinion, is playing pretty good. In my mind, he's more of an offensive defenseman, and he hasn't been able to shine in that role yet as a Leaf, I think. He still has a lot more to give. But again, this is actually really his first full year in the NHL. And he doesn't look like he's out of place that often. He does once in a while, and that's for sure. Again, he's playing his first full year, so he's going to be out of place. And he's playing with Gardner, too, who sometimes goes out of place as well. And Gardner's having a great year. Don't even say anything bad about Gardner. Compared to other previous seasons at the beginning, in the first half, I usually think Gardner doesn't have a good first half. This is his best first half as a Leaf for sure. But for Carrick, I'm giving a B- because he's still playing pretty good, and he still has more to show. But again, for his first full year, he's playing pretty well with more an offensive-minded player with Gardner on his side. Usually 2 players with the same kind of offensive style don't work together well, but they're doing okay so far for a second pairing for the Leafs. And the other matchup I want to talk about is the third pairing of Hunwick and Polak, and as people like to call them online, Honlak. A lot of people think of them as horrible defensive pairing. But again, in my opinion, the Leafs aren't in contention for a Stanley Cup. So I don't know what they expect out of a third pairing on a team that's, middling, just moving their first full year in transition of becoming a better team. So I don't know. I guess people are expecting Keith and Seabrook as the Leafs third pairing or something. But no, back to reality. Yes, Polak and Hunwick are a little bit slow, and they do make some errors, but they aren't that bad. And actually, Leafs are one of the better penalty killing teams in the league. I think they're like first on the road, and that's because of Matt and Roman. So I'm going to give them a C.
Nice.
All right, and Paul, goaltending?
Well, Penguins goaltending definitely was the talk of the offseason for the Penguins. Mm-hmm. Fleury and Murray. Was Murray going to overtake Fleury's playing time? Then he got injured in the World Cup, so it kind of hindered the start of his season. Then he came in and played and just blew the doors off of Fleury's stats. Fleury's goals against average is the lowest. Is it 3.23, which is just above his first few season career lows, 3.64 and 3.25. So he's having the worst season since his first 2 seasons. His save percentage is no better, 904, which is the lowest since his second year in 2005 and 6. So that's how bad Fleury's playing. It doesn't show because the Penguins can outscore most teams on any given night. They can be down 2 goals and come back and win 3-2 or 4-2 or 4-3. Fleury's record this year, 13-7-4 in 27 games played, 0 shutouts. I'm giving him a grade C. On the other end, Matt Murray has been hindered with the injuries at the beginning of the season, like I said. But since he's been healthy, maybe not the numbers that was his Stanley Cup run last year, but that was just incredible. There's no way he could live up to those standards. His record is 15-4-1 in 22 games played with 2 shutouts, which I would give him a grade A. Wow. As for the actual playing time, right now it's Fleury 55%, Murray 45%. I think those are going to be reversed, and it's going to be Murray getting 55% of the starts the rest of the year.
Yeah. All right. And did you say what you gave Fleury?
Yeah, I graded him as C.
C? So still not that bad.
Not that bad, because he's still putting up the wins. But he's not winning games for the Penguins, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. And for Leafs, only really one goalie to talk about because the backups have barely even played, if there are any backups. Are there backups for Leafs? No, I don't know. I don't think so. They just got Curtis to the new backup for Leafs because Enroth wasn't working at all. But Anderson, he looked awful coming out of the gate to start the season. He was just overplaying his position, trying to do too much. But since that first 2-3 weeks, he's looked as good as any maybe top 10 goaltender in the league. His work with the puck, though, especially leaving the crease, he needs to either stop leaving the crease or work with playing the puck better and better communication with his defenseman. Other than that, in the crease, I think even if he plays tight in the crease, more like a Lundqvist, I think he'd be even better because his reflexes and lateral movement is really quick, and he's very good. And I'm giving him a B+.
Nice. I know how you feel about a puck-moving goalie. Fleury has just been brutal for many years. I think they've just taught him to stay in the net. Just don't play it anymore. You're hindering your team. You're not helping your team.
Yeah. Again, last game, I think it was against the Sabres. Wow, that was awful. He gave it right to them. Again, he's still doing it. He's still, you know what? At the beginning, he was doing a lot more. He's doing a little bit less, but he's still making those costly mistakes, and almost everyone is ending in the back of his net. So they're more his fault.
Hey, at least he's not waving to fans.
No, that is correct. All right, and now we have some trivia. But again, if you want to check out the rest of our half-season report cards, go right on to blamhockey.com. All right, Paul, I got some trivia for you. Some Pittsburgh Penguins trivia. You ready?
I am so excited.
All right, question number one. What big movie was filmed in the Igloo? The old Pittsburgh Penguins arena, the Civic.
Sudden Death.
That is correct.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Oh, so
that
good.
That movie was amazing.
It was so
Did
good.
You see it, Paul?
I did see it. I've watched it many times. I thought you were going to go with Jay Baruchel's movie. He also has filmed a movie in the...
She's out of the league and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yes, there are some other movies like that. Even, I think, Rockstar was filmed. That's a 2001 movie with Mr. What's his name? Mark Wahlberg. I think even Zach and Miri had some shots of the Igloo in the back. So, yeah, there's a few movies.
Yeah.
Igloo, it's a beauty. And
I miss it. I miss it. Every game I watch, I miss the Igloo.
Yeah. So, Paul, now, why was the Igloo first built?
It was for the opera.
That is right.
They wanted an outdoor opera.
Symphony. Yep. Pittsburgh Symphony in 1961. And, of course, the first Penguins game was, of course, in 1967.
Do you remember what year they stopped opening it? Because they were too scared that they weren't going to be able to close it? Or it got stuck in an opera, I think. One of the opera viewings, it got stuck, and they're okay, once we get this closed, we're not opening it again.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do that with the Sky Dome. The Sky Dome's going to fall apart eventually. And they're just going to stop opening it.
I think the Sky Dome already is in the bottom 5 or 6 in the league in terms of oldest stadiums.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, it's pretty old already, and I wouldn't be surprised, maybe not in the next 5-6 years, but maybe 10 to 15. Yeah, there's probably going to be a new Jay Stadium.
And talking about opening the roofs, a lot of arenas are now, well, not arenas, but football stadiums and baseball stadiums. Atlanta, I'm a Falcons fan, so Atlanta is coming out with a new stadium next year, and it is just mind-blowing how it opens. It's got a Mercedes symbol on the top, and it opens like a pinwheel. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
The technology that they have nowadays, it's crazy.
Yeah. Most of them are, roof stadiums that you can open and close. So
yeah.
Cool. And, of course, another easier question there for you, Paul, is what year was the Console Energy Center opened?
Let's just hold off for a second. Let our listeners try and guess.
All
Don't
right.
Google it, listeners. Come on.
Yep. And, of course, we all know that was the original name, Console Energy Center, and now the name is, Paul?
The PPG
Yep.
Arena?
PPG Paints.
The console Energy Center was opened right after the Stanley Cup Championship in 2009. So for the 09-10 season.
Yeah.
Got to raise the banner in the opening year. Awesome.
Yep, exactly. And Paul, before we even had met, Paul and I, we both were at the last game of the season of the last game in the Igloo.
Yeah,
before they
it was
went
a big
on
one.
the cup run.
I had to be there. It was too big of a deal. I really wanted to get to the Joe before it closes down, but I don't think that's going to happen. It's kind of too bad.
I did that last year.
And I wanted to get to Nassau, and that never happened. So
I did that a few years ago. Woo-hoo!
Yeah, well,
keep on naming them, Paul.
No, you've got way more arenas than I got. And
yeah,
that's what happens. That's what happens when you get married and have a kid and settle down. And
yeah, but you went 3 for 3, Paul. Good job on the trivia.
Yeah.
And that's it for this week. Next episode, again, another new team, ISO. We got half-season awards. We're going to give out our half-season awards for the Heart, for the Rocket, for the Selkie, and so on and so forth. And Paul has some more fantasy up and down. Thanks for tuning in, folks. See you then.
Bye.